Journalist Lucy Mangan is fascinated by the youngest Brontë sister Anne, whose work was grounded in the social injustices of her day.
I've always loved Anne because, well, mainly because she's the underdog of the three sisters, and I mean, who doesn't love an underdog? She's the forgotten Brontë. She was quieter than Charlotte and, frankly, less weird than Emily. And I think there's a sense of, sort of, to the noisy and the weird, the spoils. And Anne hasn't quite had her due.
What I love about Anne is that she writes about real people. There's none of your gothic melodrama here. Her first book, Agnes Grey, is an absolutely unsparing look at the loss of an exploited governess. It's not exactly agitprop, but her approach is an almost campaigning one. Is Anne's writing slope. So if I may just hold Agnes Grey over the place where it was written.
You're acting like it's a shrine.
It is a shrine, it is.
But during the winter of 1845, as the sisters huddled round the dining room table, their writing could also draw on more recent events in their lives. With no money at home, all three had been obliged to leave to earn a living. How did those experiences influence their work? Anne, the youngest sister, spent the longest time in full employment, even though her career options were somewhat limited.
Wanted a governess not under 25 years of age who is competent to teach French, music, dancing and the rudiments of Italian. Ladies expecting a high salary need not apply. Best to get it out there, I think. Saves time wasted. It was the 1840s and I was a middle-class, reasonably well-educated young woman. This is all that's open to me. I can't be a doctor, I can't be a lawyer, I can't go to university because they're too expensive and they're only for the men. I could become an actress, but that's practically synonymous with being a prostitute.
So I've come to Audley End in Essex, where I'm told a 19th century governess's room still exists. It's interesting that both Anne and Charlotte worked as governesses like their heroines in Jane Eyre and Anne's first novel, Agnes Grey. Agnes is a high-minded daughter of a clergyman who becomes a governess so that she can make her own way in the world. She gets a brutal awakening when working for two families, the Bloomfields and the Murrays.
If you're Anne and you're confronted with this pile, you can't help but, I think, look at something like this and think, that's a place for stories. But at the same time, as on a sort of human 19-year-old girl level, that's an intimidating prospect. Poor Anne, I think. Poor Anne. So, this is the governess's bedroom. It's right next to the nursery. They're all just on the other side of that thin little wall there. And she's got this fetching number. Oh, it's quite a weight. It's not designed for you to express your personality through sort of single concession to femininity here with this little lace collar. But basically, it's to make you into something between an official servant and invisible, you know, or at least anonymous.
I think Anne was exquisitely attuned to the politics of wealth and class. As a governess, Agnes Grey basically goes from being a middle-class woman to a domestic servant, and she has to project a particular kind of image to keep her employers happy.
Okay, so it's 1840-something, my parents have just lost everything, and they're booting me out to work. I suppose what I need to know is, would the ability to quote Victoria Wood appropriately do me any good at all, because that's my only skill?
I suspect not. No. I suspect that's quite a niche market. Can you speak conversational French?
Non.
Little bit of German?
Nine.
Rudiments of Italian?
It's not even no. Ciao? I don't know. No.
Piano?
No.
Drawing?
No.
Do you have a mild and pleasing disposition?
I could fake one long enough to get a job, I think.
I think that's the thing. Really... I mean, if you look at these ads, a lot of them, apart from the rudimentary Latin and the advanced Italian, always stress mild and pleasing? Because mothers seem to have a real terror that they're going to let in a governess to the house who's going to be very, very strict with the children.
I was going to ask you about this because, reading especially the first section of Agnes Grey will almost give you a stroke. It's so awful because she's got no power. The parents basically forbid her to punish the children. Is this standard practice?
Well, it certainly was what Anne Brontë found when she went to work for the Ingham family, who are widely supposed to be the models for the Bloomfields. She was told, no, if they play up, come and see me, which she tried a couple of times, whereupon Mrs. Bloomfield said, I'm sorry, they are delightful. They are delightful.
While receiving my instructions, they would lounge upon the sofa, lie on the rug, stretch, yawn, talk to each other or look out of the window. Whereas I could not so much as stir the fire or pick up the handkerchief I had dropped without being rebuked for inattention, or told that Mamma would not like me to be so careless.
There's a fascinating moment, actually, in Anne Bronte's life where she really messed up. Was one day her charges were being so unpleasant, so difficult, that she tied them to a table leg. And at that point, their mother came in. And let's just put it like this, her services weren't required for much longer after that.
It's always that one moment when you tie them to the chair leg that the mother comes in, isn't it? Always.
What did you think when I said, let's try the dress on?
I thought no, but now that I'm in it, I feel very comfortable in this. I'm very happy. It's sparking something deep within me. It's there's not much you can do in a plain black governess's uniform than just go about your business, your legitimate, very legitimate business. And of course, it's just got that very unmodern feeling of holding you in and upright. You're not here to slouch about and be comfortable in this life. You're here to be upstanding. I think I look oddly well in it.
Anne wrote a novel which gave a voice to the voiceless. Governesses were supposed to be seen and not heard. This book showed women that work outside the home was possible. At least it was until your brother Branwell got involved. Branwell joined Anne to be a tutor to the same family, but had an affair with their mother. So Anne felt she had to leave. She and Branwell both went back to Haworth, where Branwell proceeded to drown his sorrows in drink, and decent, hard-working Anne was out of a job.